Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lex Morningstar and this YouTube channel is about the 16 personality types and the human condition. Now, to break up this little series that we're doing, this video today is about INFPs and relationships, what to expect from the INFP, and what the INFP wants as well. So what this video is going to look at is what the INFP is like in a relationship, what their drivers are, their values, why they act the way that they act, why they react the way that they react, and also the big question of why. So this video is done by request. Now, I have done a similar video about the INFP woman and what the INFP woman is like in a relationship too. So if you want, go and check that out. But this is just another version of that, if you will, because, you know, I would very much love to cover a wide, broad spectrum of the INFP. So let's dive straight into this video. So this first point is a very important point for the INFP. The INFP will fight to the ends of the earth to open up the opportunities for you to be yourself, and also they want to have that in return. One of the biggest hallmarks of the INFP is that they do everything they do based on authenticity. Their actions, or rather reactions, need to line up 100% with what they feel is true in their heart. They won't ever act on anything that does not feel right or feels completely wrong to that INFP. One of their biggest values in life is to do everything with 100% authenticity, and this starts with themselves. It starts with their core, how they see themselves in this world. The INFP will not waver who they are. They're very staunchly themselves, and if anyone steps on their toes or expects them to change who they are at their core, their character, the INFP is not going to like that very much and will probably act quite passively aggressively. However, this is not to be confused with the fact that the INFP can be very quick to address their behavior if their behavior is not accepted or if it's wrong. Character and behavior are very two different things. So because this is a very big and intense value for the INFP, they want the same things for their loved ones. I guess you could say that it is a part of the INFP's love language, although, you know, we're all different with different kind of love languages. The INFP will strive for their loved ones to act in their true selves as well. And if the person that the INFP loves or who the INFP is with has a passion or a dream or a goal, that INFP will be right by their side, or rather backing them, pushing that person forward with the utmost support. And simultaneously, that INFP will be striving to allow their loved one to be 100% themselves too, and to not waver who they are because other people want them to. These dreams could be like way out of the box as well. Like if you can think of, let's just say your loved one wants to become an astronaut. Obviously, that is going to take a heck ton of training, but that INFP will be right behind that person, supporting them every step of the way, encouraging them and filling them with confidence. At least you'd like to think so. So to sum it up, if that INFP can help their loved one express and celebrate their true selves, they're going to do it. So that there, folks, is the primary function of the INFP, introverted feeling at immense play. Oh, okay. That's quite dark. Oh my gosh, that is a dramatic change. Please excuse the sudden change of camera settings. The weather is going crazy, and of course, I use natural light for my videos, so when the sun's in and out of the clouds, it can be quite annoying. Okay, back to where I was. So for the second point, clear lines of communications. Now, INFPs can have a reputation of being quite aloof or difficult to understand. They have a difficult to understand image, and this is because they feel quite protective of their personalities. As I said in the first point, they will not waver who they are to suit anyone else, and they are very passionately themselves. But this does not change the fact that when they're around other people, especially if it's people that they don't know or don't 100% trust with who they are, they would rather avoid any kind of confrontation. However, this is the complete opposite when they're around people that they love and that they trust. So if you're one of those kinds of people, well then count yourself lucky. The INFP trusts you. So INFPs have a very sharp sense and a deep understanding of emotion and feeling. You will find many INFPs would be highly emotionally intelligent, empathic, or highly sensitive people. So really, emotion and feeling are the INFP's language. They understand it. It's how they communicate the best. INFPs can be so highly in tune with not only their own emotions, but their loved ones' emotions. The INFP can so easily read another person's facial expressions or gestures. They can pick up on very subtle cues and are very sensitive to those changes. And therefore, this may explain part of the INFP's sensitivity, their own internal sensitivity. The best thing for the INFP, if you want to be receptive to them, is to open those lines of communication. Just put everything out on the table, discuss the matters of the heart. You don't have to worry when you're in the presence of an INFP, because if that INFP truly loves you, respects you, and cherishes you, they are going to respect every kind of feeling and emotion that you have. One thing on this planet is that we heavily underestimate the power of addressing emotion, and just the sheer fact that emotional intelligence isn't really valued so much in Western society. But the INFP understands that it very much should be, and if it was valued, then there'd be a lot of people still together, I guess you could say. The INFP understands that once the matters of the heart are addressed, then it opens the realm for healing, which equals harmony. Now, what are one of the INFP's values in life? Harmony. INFPs don't enjoy being in discord at all. And if there is discord, the INFP is going to want to address the underlying problem, because the INFP sees things as a whole and wants to fix things as a whole. They're very good at picking up on the emotional, spiritual side of things and can address those quite well because they have clear understanding of emotion. If the INFP is in turmoil for too long, that INFP will be at risk of overanalyzing the situation, acting passive-aggressively. You don't want that. Being stubborn or acting very uncharacteristically outspoken. And that, of course, is a reaction. That is the introverted feeling being at work. The INFP acts from introverted feeling and will react to the given situation by what they value in their hearts. So to the third point. This one's very self-explanatory because INFPs are introverts. The INFP can very easily give you space if they can sense that you might need it and want that back as well. The INFP understands that for you as their partner or their husband, their wife, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, that you need to be able to do certain things in your life to be able to heal whatever's going on inside. And sometimes that might mean taking space. The INFP knows this all too well because the INFP has to do that in order to recharge so that they can go face the world once again. Obviously, if you're the kind of person who doesn't really need space and would rather have people around you or to do activities with people around you, well then the INFP is going to obviously come to terms with that and want to meet your needs, because again it goes back to the very first point of what you need as a person. That INFP will be right there wanting to help you to to be yourself. I know that there's this going notion that a man needs his man cave, and my partner James has one himself, which is actually this room. So when he comes home from work, he will come into this room and take like 15-20 minutes out for himself to just unwind from the day, to heal from the day. And of course, like, I want to have that space too. But I get it usually when the kids are at school and I'm doing YouTube videos. I really do understand this, and I want to give James that time to unwind from his day, because he goes out there and works really hard for our family. And I love and respect him, so I'm going to give him what he needs. So the next one is expect a little bit of unorthodoxy. As we know, the INFP doesn't really do things traditionally or doesn't really follow routine. They kind of walk to their own beat. They're themselves, and it doesn't matter if that part of that dabbles in tradition or it doesn't dabble in tradition. Depending on what that INFP values, that INFP will walk to that beat. Again, the INFP could adopt some kind of tradition, but this will be because they value that themselves. And so that will be coming from them, not what anyone else expects of them. So that's a big, clear difference. And it goes back to that first point of being unapologetically themselves, being 100% authentic, walking to that beat of authenticity. And that is unwaverable. That is at the absolute core. So what does unorthodoxy mean? Well, that INFP may be a little bit offbeat and eccentric sometimes. They may do things that the outside world will question and be like, well, what is this? A good clear example would be maybe the INFP doesn't want to get married or doesn't want to have kids, or maybe that INFP does a weird kind of job like YouTube videos. Actually, everyone has one of those these days. I'm trying to think of weird things, but I can't think of weird things. A very stereotypical one would be that INFP is the next big novelist. But when we look at relationships, what's something that the INFP might do that's offbeat and eccentric, that doesn't follow tradition, that is very unorthodox? Not getting married, not having children could be a clear example of that. Deciding to live in a house bus and travel around the country with their loved one could also be another example of that. Being in a polyamorous relationship could be another example of that. James and I are eloping in Vegas and want to get married by Elvis. That, I guess, in its own way, could be an example of that. Another example, I guess, is when James proposed to me. Well, that in itself is quite traditional because he really wanted to. The part of it that's not traditional is that when he proposed, we were both in bed. I was on Xanax because I was struggling with this lump in my breast. This was last year, and wanted to prove the fact that he was there for me through sickness and through health. He was clear that he didn't want to do any kind of what he would call a wanky engagement, and neither did I. I didn't want to make a big fuss of it, and nor do I want to make a big fuss of the wedding in general. I'm not the kind of person to wear a big princess dress, to have 300 family members and friends, to have 10 bridesmaids, and to do everything very streamlined. The other thing is, that's not very good, is that the INFP may look through rose-tinted glasses when they are in a relationship with someone, and can kind of, in a way, put them on a pedestal or have this kind of false sense of reality about relationships. And while they can be very emotionally intelligent, at the same time, they are very creative, and they have a very intense dream world where they like to make things up in their heads and to live in a fantasy as much as they can. So watch out for that one, because you could be the next character on the Game of Thrones. So that about wraps up INFPs in a relationship. Now, of course, there could be more points here, but I just wanted to cover the very basics of what to expect when you are in a relationship with an INFP and what the INFP wants as well. So if you have any comments of your experience with an INFP, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear about your experiences. But for now, I hope you have a really good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys all again next time for possibly the next part of the series. So I hope to see you guys all again next time for the next video. Bye.